December 16, 1944. Desperate, the Nazis make a last push to defeat the Allies in the Ardennes. Known as the Battle of the Bulge, it was the largest and bloodiest battle the Allies faced, and a pivotal turning point in the war to liberate Europe. 65 years later, we remember the victory and sacrifice. War veterans often talk about their buddies and experiences. Rolla Sudmiller introduces us to two veterans who fought together but never met until now.
Two veterans of World War II telling their stories from the Battle of the Bulge. For Captain Love, one of his regiment's biggest achievements came during the first 3 days of the battle.
The 38th Infantry Regiment in Rockerath-Krinkelt knocked out 39 tanks.
One of those destroyed tanks belonged to Hans Baumann.
Our unit got lost coming into the area on the first day of the battle. My tank was taken out. I got another tank, and we began to make our way through Krinkelt.
So he was on this road back here.
For Hans Baumann, who had already seen battle in Italy, France, Hungary, and Russia, it was just another day at war. But for James Love, the 3 days in the Ardennes were a victory for his unit. Here he stands proudly before a tank he knocked out. He now knows it was from Hans' unit. This is the first time they've met. So did you have apprehension when you first met?
No. We met over a couple of beers.
We were enemies, but now we're both lucky to be alive and be able to meet each other as friends.
Both men will now return home, but both now have a face and a friend to replace the words they used until now, the enemy.
(1944), a pivotal year in the war in Europe. This year marks the 65th anniversary of the Allied victory at the Battle of the Bulge and the beginning of liberation for Europe. USAG Benelux pays tribute to this milestone anniversary with a special online magazine. Type USAG Benelux in your search engine and download 65 Liberation. Read accounts of the troops, those who were liberated. Find the best museums. Read the calendar of events this year. Visit USAG Benelux online and download this special anniversary magazine. December 16, 1944. Desperate, the Nazis make a last push to defeat the Allies in the Ardennes. Known as the Battle of the Bulge, it was the largest and bloodiest battle the Allies faced, and a pivotal turning point in the war to liberate Europe. 65 years later, we remember the victory and sacrifice. Every war has two sides. Often with time, both sides can be told. Rolla Sudmiller has the story of a man who went from German soldier to U.S. prisoner of war.
It's here on a crisp fall day in the middle of the Ardennes forest that Rolf Oldenhall tells his story. The first time Rolf was in these woods was January of 1945. He was a German platoon commander for a small group of soldiers thrown together from broken platoons. He spent the time watching American soldiers in snow ponchos moving across the adjoining field. Next, Rolf takes us to a nearby farmhouse. It's close to where he was eventually captured a week later. Hundreds of German POWs were brought through this courtyard and questioned. Rolf and 15 other prisoners were lined up along this stone wall and interrogated. The youngest soldier in the line went first. "Talk or we'll shoot you," he was told. When the kid refused to answer, he was marched behind the barn and a shot was heard. Now the German soldiers began talking. After each soldier was questioned, the young soldier was brought out from behind the barn, uninjured, smiling, and smoking a cigarette. Rolf's story is one that only he can tell, and somewhere out there is the other side to this story too.
Go to usagbenelux.eur.army.mil for a list of Battle of the Bulge events in December. December 12th, Bastogne holds celebrations marking the famous resistance of troops inside the town. Sunday, December 13th, groups pay respects to World War II African-American troops massacred at the village of Wereth. Lectures and tours educate attendees. Call Ivan Spates at DSN 476-4607 for more information, 476-4607, and log on to USAG Benelux for more events. Jack Johnson, tune is upside down. AFN Benelux, the Eagles, serving America's best. John Patrick with you this beautiful afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s throughout the Benelux and clear overnight. There's an awesome magazine all over the place that just hit the shelf commemorating the liberation of Belgium and the Battle of the Bulge. This year's the 65th anniversary of those huge historical events. And with me now is the person who oversaw this incredible magazine project. You have to pick one of these up. They're really cool. They're all over the place. They're free, and they really make history quite interesting. With me is the editor of our local quarterly magazine, the Benelux Edge, editor Christy Vanover in the studio. Tell me about this magazine here, special edition.
That's right. We've got a special edition of the Benelux Edge that is just now being distributed throughout the installations of Chev, Shape, Schinnen, and Brussels, and it's to commemorate the 65-year anniversary of the road to liberation, the liberation of both Belgium, the Netherlands, and in fact all of Europe, and ending in 1945.
So is this just basically a history lesson in here? What all am I going to find when I open this?
Actually, what's unique about this is that it's not just a history lesson. I personally am not a big history buff. I wouldn't open a history book and just start reading it front to cover. What this is an actual personal account of people's stories. We followed some World War II veterans who just came here recently to Bastogne and to Normandy, who actually jumped in on D-Day. We talked to some Belgian World War II veterans who were in the resistance army and then joined the 5th Fusilier Battalion, who fought also in the Battle of the Bulge. It's just full of these personal accounts of stories that really will capture your attention. But it's not just personal stories, it's also informative information. We've got a whole section on the different cemeteries that are around here that people might not be familiar with. We give the GPS addresses so they can go and visit them, a little bit of brief history of who's buried there, what's unique about them, and then not just the facts and the details, but also we talk to the gentlemen who run the operations and the stories that they have to share about the families in the States who travel all the way over here to Europe to see these graves.
Christy Vanover, editor of the Benelux Edge. Pick up a copy of this special edition called 65 Liberation. It's outside the PX and commissary in many offices throughout the Benelux. Top headlines of the day are next.